Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Just checking my sound. Man, it's been a while since I've been here. Thank you all for being here. Oh, man. It feels like it's been forever since I've seen you guys. And it's so much has happened while I've been gone. For those of you who don't know, our daughter, the daughter belonging to my wife and I, not belonging, I don't know what the word is. Our daughter. She got married, and last week was the celebration of that. And there was so much. There was just so much. And it was a lot of fun, but also exhausting, and I couldn't keep up. So I I had to take a little bit of a break. And then yesterday, I thought that I was going to be able to hop on with you guys, but I am covering a murder trial here in Western Pennsylvania in my day job. It is the murder of Marcy Suzette Nellis of Oil City, Pennsylvania. And the suspect in that, the defendant, is a man named David Bosley. So I've been working at the courthouse all day, and then writing all into the evening to get, to hit my deadline. So it's been tough. Fortunately for me today, the court ended pretty early. So, okay, that's enough about me because this isn't about me. You know what this is about? This is about her. This little 12-year-old girl named Melinda Hoagland. Now, this one, we're going to get into the press release, and we're going to even watch a press conference together. This one hits hard because it's here in Pennsylvania, and our victim is a child. And there are a couple of questions that I have here that I'm trying to figure out, because this child is now deceased. And this child is deceased allegedly because of the treatment that she received from her father and her father's girlfriend, a man named Rendell Hoagland and a woman named Cindy Warren. This happened in Chester County, Pennsylvania, which is the greater Philadelphia area. They lived in a more rural part of Chester County, but it is that area. I don't want to even look at them all that much. I want to remember her. The terrible tragedy that happened here without anybody knowing is just really tough. It's really tough to take. So I think what I'm going to do, let us start. They look like siblings, says Elaine McKenzie. They do look a little like siblings. That is for sure. Hey, now, I think that we're probably going to be a little smaller audience tonight, or a smaller group tonight, than we have been over the past few videos, because this isn't a case that has hit the national zeitgeist the way the Micah Miller case has, and the way the Karen Reed case has. But this is an important case nonetheless. But even though we're going to be a little bit smaller tonight, if you guys would do me a favor and just, let me see if I can get to it here. I guess I don't have it. It's okay. I don't have it prepared. I will try to go through the comments and get them correct. But if any of my moderators are here, if you guys will just write capital G, capital F, and that will help me filter the comments if there's something that you really want me to read on air. Okay? Let's head over to the PDF here, Acrobat. This is a release that was sent out on May 7th, a week ago today. So it's Tuesday, out of the District Attorney's Office of Chester County. The name of the DA is Christopher DeBarena-Sarobe. This, by the way, if you have been on my channel for any length of time, you might recognize Chester County as a county that I have a deep and abiding interest in, because they are the ones. It is Mr. Barena-Sarobe's office who are supposed to be looking into the case of Ellen Greenberg. We have heard bupkis from Chester County, so I don't know what's actually happening over there. But we are going to hear from Mr. Barrena-Sarobe. First, let's read his news release, and then I'm going to get into the actual charging documents, okay? Okay, 2 arrested in the death of a 12-year-old. The Chester County District Attorney's Office and the West Con Township Police Department announced the arrest of Rendell Hoagland, 52, and Cindy Warren, 45, of West Con Township, Pennsylvania, for charges related to the death of 12-year-old Melinda Hoagland. Rendell Hoagland is Melinda's father. Cindy Warren is Rendell's girlfriend. The defendants were arrested by Chester County detectives on May 6, 2024, and charged with, and this is important, attempted criminal homicide. And I honestly don't know why it's attempted criminal homicide. They've been charged with attempted criminal homicide, aggravated assault, kidnapping, and other related charges. Now, real quick, in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, there is the main law enforcement agency, which is the Pennsylvania State Police, and then each individual municipality and county and city, not all of them, but many of the townships and the villages, they all have their own local police departments. Each county has their own sheriff's office, right? The Pennsylvania State Police, it really acts as the overarching assisting agency for all of these investigative and law enforcement agencies. When we read Chester County detectives, as we did right here, each county in their district attorney's office also has an investigative arm. So Chester County detectives would be the investigators and detectives that are employed by the district attorney's office. These typically are extremely experienced detectives. They're people that have 25, 30 years on the job, and in the last few years of their career, they will work very difficult cases in the district attorney's office. And I mean, you guys might be going, yeah, Gavin, we know. It was just new to me when we moved here to Pennsylvania. So, and in the courtroom today or yesterday, I heard from 2 of the detectives who were witnesses in the case that I was covering. So, that's who is actually investigating this case, the DA's office. Okay, so attempted criminal homicide, aggravated assault, kidnapping, and other related charges. Magisterial District Judge J. Timothy Arndt III arraigned both defendants this morning and set bail of $1 million each. They are being held in the Chester County Prison. Okay, one other quick thing about the Commonwealth. Hang on. One other quick thing about the Commonwealth is here in Pennsylvania, we call what normal places call jails, we call prisons. And what normal states call prisons, we call SCIs, State Correctional Institutes. So Chester County Prison is the county jail. A preliminary hearing is scheduled for May 13th, 2024. A decision on whether to charge the defendants with additional charges, including murder, will be made when medical evidence is fully available. So I believe that they are waiting for the autopsy results, probably. Chester County District Attorney Christopher L. de Barrena-Sarobe said Melinda was subjected to evil and torment that no child should ever have to endure. I'm grateful to every first responder and law enforcement officer who has worked tirelessly on this case. Together, we will get justice for Melinda. This is reminding me of a conversation I had in court today. I'll get back to it. West Con Police Chief Kurt Martinez said, I would like to thank the Chester County Detectives, District Attorney's Office, and Pennsylvania State Police for assisting the West Con Township Police Department in making an arrest in this horrific case of child abuse. The criminal complaints filed by the Chester County Detectives indicate that on May 4th, 2024, At approximately 7:28 p.m., the West Calm Township Police Department and the Westwood Fire Company ambulance responded to a 911 call for an unconscious 12-year-old female located at the 200 block of Reed Road. Just to, again, kind of share some insight as to, nomenclature here. And while I do this, I'll show the map here. So this is the 200 block of Reed Road in Chester Township. That little thing right there is 300 Reed Road, and this house right here is 200 Reed Road. So we're looking at this house, or this house. The unfortunate thing is Google Street View has not gone down this road. This is a very rural road. I can show you the street view of this intersection here. So this is the main road that we're on, and then this is Reed Road. If I can just kind of look up here, you can just see that it's very Pennsylvanian. I mean, it's green, it's covered in trees and a canopy, and it's pretty darn rural. So let me get back over to this view. I think I can get to this view. How do I do this? There we go. And then I can show you this side of it going into Reed Road from this side. So we're standing on, what is it? Cowlin Road, and then that is Reed Road. And these are houses that are just pretty typical, Rambler style houses. If I can just kind of zoom in on here, these are single story Rambler style houses. But if I go back to the overhead view and just kind of zoom out a little bit, you can see its proximity to Philadelphia. It's on the west side of Philadelphia. It's outside about an hour or so. So that is where we are in the world. Okay, now when they talk about the township, the way that Pennsylvania is divided up is by the Commonwealth is divided into counties, which is then divided into townships, villages, and cities. And so a township is typically a rural area that is a piece of a county. Okay, let's get back over to Acrobat. Okay, so May 4th, 7:28 p.m., West Calm Township Police Department and the Westwood Fire Company ambulance responded to a 911 call for an unconscious 12-year-old female located on the 200 block of Reed Road. The caller, defendant Rendell Hoagland, reported that his daughter was not responsive. Upon arrival, officers were alerted by medics to the child's condition. Everyone realized that something was gravely wrong with Melinda. Melinda was transported to Paoli Hospital Trauma Center. There, medical staff noticed that Melinda was emaciated. She weighed 50 pounds. She was covered in bruises. She had at least a half dozen broken bones. Her organs were failing, and ultimately Melinda died at approximately 9:58 p.m. while being treated. The investigation that followed revealed that Melinda had been pulled out of public school. This is the part that kills me. And by the way, I'm not anti-cyber school. I'm not anti-homeschool. I'm not anti-public school. It's just tragic what has happened here. Okay, Melinda had been pulled out of public school in late November and early December and shifted to a home cyber school. They reviewed cell phones used by the defendants. I think they're saying the investigators did. They noticed that Warren had deleted a number of her text messages to Hoagland. This is indicative, as you guys know, I've brought this up a million times, of a consciousness of guilt. This will be used against them later, for sure. If she's deleting things thinking that she'll be able to hide evidence, That actually could be another charge, withholding evidence or hiding evidence. And then they'll also use that to prove to the jury that there was a consciousness of guilt, which probably means first-degree murder. Probably. Okay. They also found dozens of videos stored on both phones from the defendant's home camera system. Those videos showed that Melinda was ankle cuffed to furniture and verbally berated by the defendants through an in-camera speaker system. The videos showed that the defendants would punish Melinda by demanding strenuous physical exercise, such as squats and running in place while still shackled. And they showed that Melinda would also be punished for perceived slights by being denied meals. And these videos started months ago. Months ago. The Chester County detectives are the lead investigating agency. First Assistant District Attorney Aaron O'Brien is the assigned prosecutor. The West Collin Township Police Department, Pennsylvania State Police Troop J, West Brandywine Township Police, Willistown Township Police, South Coatesville Borough Police, and Coatesville City Police all contributed to the case. Please remember, if you have concerns about the safety of the child, you should say something. Call 911. Call Childline at 1-800-932-0313. Childline reports can be anonymous, and if you have information about this case, contact the Chester County Detectives at 610-344-6866. Oh, this is just a sad one. Okay. So this little girl, 12-year-old, shackled in place, malnourished, withheld food, physically demanded to do physical activities when she, slighted her dad and his girlfriend, food withheld, her organs were shutting down, at least 6 bones were broken, and she died. As a result, I think it's safe to say, as a result of that treatment. And yet, when we get over to the dockets, I'm going to show you Rendell's real quick, okay? I have Cindy's as well. It's the same thing. This is in Judge Arndt's court in the district court. So this is the lowest court in Pennsylvania. It is where all cases start in district court. Okay, we can see that they were arraigned a week ago this morning, on the 7th of May at 10:10 a.m. They had a hearing scheduled for 5:13, which would have been yesterday, but that was continued until July 8th. Of course, I mean, we would have to look at the docket, see if there are any, Yeah, so they sent something to the Court of Common Pleas. I've never seen that line item on a docket before, so I'll have to request it from the court to see what's going on. But what I really wanted to show you is that they have been charged with criminal attempt of criminal homicide. So homicide and murder are synonymous, so attempted murder is what they have been charged with. Also been charged with aggravated assault. The victim is less than 13 and the defendant 18 years or older. That's a first-degree felony. Conspiracy for that aggravated assault. That's a first-degree felony. Kidnapping of a minor to facilitate a felony or flight. That is a first-degree felony. Kidnapping of a minor to inflict bodily injury. That is a first-degree felony. Conspiracy for the kidnapping of the minor. Both of those are first-degree felonies. Unlawful restraint of a minor with risk of, I looked at the law. That's the unlawful restraint of a minor by a parent or guardian with risk of bodily injury, a second-degree felony, conspiracy to do that, false imprisonment of a minor by a parent or guardian, second-degree felony, and then conspiracy for false imprisonment, a second-degree felony, simple assault, conspiracy to simple assault, both second-degree misdemeanors, recklessly endangering another person, second-degree misdemeanor, endangering the welfare of children where the parent or guardian commits the offense, second-degree felony, and conspiracy to endanger the welfare of that child, a second-degree felony. And I believe that is all of the charges. So both of them, if we go over to Cindy's, we can see that she's actually got a couple of extra charges. She's got an obstruction charge and a tampering or fabricating physical evidence. So that would be the deletion of cell phone messages. So she's got, actually, she has been charged with felony ones on all these. Let's see. No, it's just in different order. Okay, just in a different order. So that's what they are looking at. And like I said, their preliminary hearing has been moved to July 8th of 2024. The preliminary hearing here in the Commonwealth is done at the district judge level. And instead of basically a grand jury, what we do here in the Commonwealth is the prosecution will present their case to the judge with the defense present. The defense can cross-examine witnesses, but the prosecution will question witnesses and present their case to a judge who will determine if there is enough probable cause to hold the case over to the higher court, which is the Court of Common Pleas. I did see that a docket is open in the Court of Common Pleas, but it hasn't been moved over there quite yet. Let me see if there are any. First of all, Autumn, thank you very much for that super chat. You are amazing. Autumn takes care of me, man. And Autumn is one of our amazing mods. Everybody give it up for Autumn. She's awesome. Okay, if you want me to read your comment, please be sure to add GF to your comment so that I can see it. Okay, let's go over to, I'm going to go over to the press conference with you guys. I'm going to probably have to mute myself here, but let me just bring you over here and let's watch the press conference together. Of course, we can pause as we go along to for any comments or whatever. Here we go.
Good afternoon. Today it's my somber duty to discuss the death of 12-year-old Melinda Hoagland. We are here to announce that we've arrested Melinda's biological father, Rendell Hoagland, and his girlfriend, Cindy Warren, on charges of attempted homicide, aggravated assault of a child, kidnapping, and other related charges. As always in our justice system, these defendants are innocent until proven guilty, and what I'm going to be talking about today is going to be difficult to hear, and I may struggle to get some of the facts about this case out, so I ask that you please bear with me. On Saturday, May 4th, the West County Police Department and the Westwood EMS responded to a 911 call from Rendell Hoagland, who reported that Melinda was unconscious and non-responsive. Shockingly, they found a 12-year-old girl who was broken and barely alive. Our investigation revealed that Rendell Hoagland and Cindy Warren subjected Melinda to evil and torment that no child should ever have to endure, and they did it for months. After the 911 call, Melinda was whisked away to Paoli Trauma Center, and she was given top flight medical treatment. But it was not enough. Doctors found a child that was emaciated. She weighed 50 pounds. She was covered in bruises. She had a half dozen broken bones at least. Her organs were failing. And ultimately, she died while she was being treated at.
I just want to pause here for a second because I don't know. I don't know like at what point organ failure starts going, nor do I know if there were any pre-existing conditions, like did she have any chronic diseases like diabetes or heart disease or something like that. I don't know, but I think that if she was a healthy child, then she must have been enduring this treatment by her dad and his girlfriend for a long time, probably November when she was taken out of school. It's just heartbreaking. All right, let's continue.
Hospital. Our investigation began as soon as the 911 call ended. Police slowly learned that Melinda had been pulled out of middle school in late November and early December and shifted to an online cyber school. They reviewed cell phones used by Rendell Hoagland and Cindy Warren as part of the investigation. They noted that Cindy Warren had deleted a number of her text messages with Rendell. They found dozens and dozens of videos stored on both phones from the defendant's in-home camera system that also had speakers attached to those cameras. Those videos showed that Melinda was ankle cuffed to furniture and verbally berated by the defendants through that in-camera speaker system. The videos showed that they would punish her by demanding strenuous physical exercise, such as squats and running in place while she was still shackled. And they showed that she would be punished for perceived slights by being denied food, sometimes for days. And these videos started months ago. The punishments were seemingly systematic. Based on this and other evidence, we decided to charge the defendants with attempted murder. They were arrested last night. Their bail was set this morning at $1 million cash. We are awaiting a variety of medical-related reviews and reports to be concluded, at which point we will decide whether to charge the defendants with murder of Melinda. These reports can take weeks.
So I think that's what they're waiting on. It just seems like they're waiting on the autopsy to see if they're able to prove that this is a homicide. I almost went down because I don't like looking at this guy because he has Ellen's case and apparently is doing nothing with it. But I think they're ironically waiting for that autopsy in this case. All right, let's keep going.
Obtain, and we'll determine whether those charges are warranted when we have a chance to thoroughly review all the evidence. And because this is an ongoing investigation with respect to those potential charges, I'm not going to be taking any hypothetical questions about murder today. But in the following days and weeks, everyone is going to ask, how could this happen to a 12-year-old in America? I don't have the answers right now, but what I can say immediately is that Melinda seemingly had limited access, incredibly limited access to the outside world from the moment that she was pulled from school. And what I can also say is that on Saturday night, when police and first responders truly encountered Melinda in a state where they could recognize something was wrong, they did everything in their power to save her. And while we wish that the 911 call had happened sooner, it's very clear that everyone rang every alarm in every direction to make sure that she was taken to the best place and that the best investigation could happen in an attempt to make sure that she could be safe if she could be saved. So if there's something to take from this right now, it's that if you have concerns about the safety of a child, even of a child that you hardly know, you should say something. Call 911. Call Childline at 1-800-932-0313. Childline reports can be even anonymous when you file them correctly. And if you think you have information about Melinda's case, please contact the Chester County detectives immediately at 610-344-6866.
I'm going to pause this for a second. Dawn, this is a really good comment. Yes, so Chris here, I know from his campaign, is a father of little kids. He has children a little bit younger than Melinda here. So I think he's absolutely struck by this and shaken. And I think anybody would be. It's just amazing what some people will do in this world, man.
I want to end by saying a couple more things. First, Melinda's family has provided us with a photograph of her from when she was younger. That just came in recently. We're going to email that to you folks. Please consider using that in your visuals going forward.
That's this photo here.
And I would be also remiss in not thanking all of our law enforcement partners in this case. I want to thank Chief Martinez from the West County Police Department, who's here to my left. The Pennsylvania State Police Troop J, who helped in a variety of different ways in multiple counties. I want to thank the West Brandywine Police Department, Willistown Township Police Department, South Coatesville Borough Police, Coatesville City Police, and other departments I'm sure I'm failing to recognize for their immediate and unquestioning assistance when we called asking for even small favors. And I want to thank the members of my office, essentially my entire team of county detectives and First Assistant District Attorney Aaron O'Brien, who worked essentially 72 hours straight to make this arrest last night happen, to give us an idea of what Melinda was truly facing. This is not an easy case. There is assuredly a lot more work to do. But together we will get justice for Melinda. Our thoughts and our prayers are with her and her family. I'll now open it up to your questions.
Were there other children in the home? Were there other children in the home?
There's a 9-year-old child in the home that is Cindy Warren's biological child. He appears to have been very well treated and unharmed and is out of her custody currently, obviously.
Did either of these two, Cindy?
That part kills me. There was a 9-year-old child, a little boy in the house, and he was treated just fine. Apparently it was just Melinda who had done something in the mind of this sicko, right? Not saying that she did. I'm saying in his mind, she did something that warranted torture, broken bones, malnutrition, kidnapping, chaining to, shackling her. But the other child in the house did not. Just frightening.
In particular, have a prior history of abuse of a child?
So I am ethically constrained from answering questions about people's criminal histories in these press conferences. You can consult the materials and make a determination on your advice.
Who pulled her out of school? Who pulled her out, her mother or the father?
Sorry, her biological mother is elsewhere in Pennsylvania. Her father and Cindy pulled her out of school.
And I know that we have a hard time hearing what the question is, but you can tell by his answer kind of what he's talking about.
Is the best of our understanding currently. I know these two have been patiently trying to chime in, so.
Do you believe the abuse was occurring before she was pulled out of school, or the abuse started after that?
We're still working on a timeline. We have a lot of electronic evidence that we are working through right now, so I don't want to give, I want to make sure that I give precise answers when we can, but right now I can't answer that.
Has the school provided any information about her? Have you reached out to the school?
We've been working with every school that we can in the brief 72 hours that we have, really been going forward on this case full energy. So every agency that we've worked with has been cooperative so far. That's what I can say.
You know, she was appearing in person in the cyber school, and by in person, was she virtually showing up on camera?
She was virtually showing up on camera based on some of the videos that we reviewed, but she was shackled below for where the camera was.
There was nothing, no red flags from what they could visibly see?
No, I mean, when we executed search warrants at the house was in good condition. Currently, we do not see how anyone on the other side of that screen could have known what was going on. If that changes, we will update you.
Okay, and that being said, if things are looking okay on their end, there's no in-person follow-up happening when someone's pulled out of school and homeschooled, that there's no obligation, I know you don't work in the district, there's no obligation for there to be home visits or anything like that if there's no red flags?
We have a right to homeschool our children, right? And so while I think there was at some point a red flag raised by the school, back in the fall or early winter, I don't think there's anything anyone could have done at that time. We're still trying to determine what happened. Our focus has been on documenting, understanding injuries, and pursuing charges.
For clarification, well, one, how do we spell her name? You said Belinda or Melinda?
Melinda,
How do we spell that?
I believe it's Malinda.
Malinda, last name is Hoagland?
Yes, ma'am.
And then when you said it seemed like the torment was systematic, can you clarify what you mean by that?
We have dozens of videos that are date and time stamped, and it's repeated. It's systematic.
Dozens of videos that are date and time stamped, and it was repeated and systematic. That's how he describes it.
Like routine, like if you do this, this is what we do?
I don't know. I would like. We are still processing it, but that's just how I, in normal terms, would describe it.
Does she have a room in the house? Do they keep her in a certain area? Was she allowed outside? Any of that kind of thing?
She has a bedroom in the house. She was at times shackled in the basement of the home. She was outside on I think rare occasions, right? She was seen at a campground in Lancaster County over the weekend, right? But that's as far as we've gotten in terms of how frequently she was outside.
About that campground, is it believed that there was some abuse happening at that campground as well? Is that the second home for them?
I mean, they would frequent Jellystone in Lancaster County with some regularity, but
Jellystone, by the way, guys, is like I've seen them all over Pennsylvania. It's like a RV park campground. It has things to do as a family, little like putt-putt and stuff like that. It's camping, but it's more glamping. A lot of people will stay there for extended periods of time, and that's where they said she had been seen, that the family went out to this Jellystone campground and she had been seen there.
We don't have precise answers on that right now.
Do you think the bike accident really happened?
I'm not going to speculate on what it is. Whether it happened or not, it doesn't account for dozens of broken bones and a 12-year-old being 50 pounds.
Did the abuse happen in the home or were there outbuildings?
There are outbuildings on the property. Right now, our focus is inside the home.
And what do you think, do you these videos again, these videos of the abuse, they then watch them, like, they have like a library of them kind of thing?
No, I mean, you have to sort of, I know people don't think about this, but cell phones work a variety of different ways. So when you view a video, your phone will often store that video that you viewed somewhere else on the phone that you don't access. We call it cached. So, we're still working through the technical ways that these videos were preserved, but I don't believe, as I stand here right now, and again, this is ongoing, and we've been at this for, no more than 3 full days, that they were purposefully saving these videos.
Can you give us an idea of what they did for a living, these two parents?
that breaks my heart. They were purposefully saving the videos. These guys were purposely saving those videos. That has to... I don't even know what to say to that. That means that they were enjoying watching the videos if they kept them, right? They would watch them again and again. That's what it seems like to me. Oh my goodness, that is sick.
And how
Sure.
they were able to basically pull the wool over the eyes of everybody while this was going on behind closed doors. I mean, there were no signs.
Look, my understanding is that Rendell Hoagland is a welder, and that Cindy Warren stays home, and they keep to themselves, right? And when you keep to yourselves, and I mean, West Count's not completely raw, but in a relatively, we're not on top of each other in row homes like we can be in Philadelphia, right? If you don't give an opportunity for children to get out, and if you can essentially, through a sheer terror campaign, train your child to not say anything because they're so terrified of the repercussions, this is apparently can happen.
And can you tell us if Melinda suffered from any kind of mental or health problem?
I don't, not to my knowledge as I stand right here, but we have a lot of medical records that we are slowly getting in that we need to review in this case. So I'm not that's just where we stand right now.
I gotta ask you a human question.
Sure.
You said, broken and barely alive, evil and tormented for months, 50 pounds, covered in bruises, half dozen broken bones, organ failure. I'm reading here, she allegedly had a hood over her head. As a human being, when you look at something like this, what goes through your mind?
If you didn't hear that, he described the injuries and then said, as a human being, when you read these kinds of things, what goes through your mind? I actually think that was a pretty good question. Because these people say this kind of stuff all the time. Maybe not every day, but all the time.
I think we've all asked ourselves over the past few days, like, when the last time Melinda was ever loved. So it's an awful thing to think about.
Do you have any sense of why she was targeted and not the other children?
No, we're still investigating. Like I said, we felt like we had enough evidence to move forward with charges today, and we weren't going to wait another day to answer a lot of the same questions that everybody has. And we needed to make sure that based on what we saw, that they were in custody as soon as we could put them in custody. That's what we did. So I fully expect that we will be back before you in the coming days or weeks to try and shed some light on that. I will also tell you that in my experience in cases like this, there are no answers that make sense. It's a reminder that there is evil in this world, and we all need to be vigilant for it and come together as a community to make sure that we can be safe.
For clarification, you said attempted murder, but the docket says homicide, murder-homicide. What?
I call it colloquially attempt murder, attempt homicide. They're the same thing.
Okay, so we can report that the charge that they're facing is homicide.
They're charged with attempted homicide
Okay.
or attempted murder, whichever one you would like to choose.
Okay, so let's go through a couple of these questions. As we were playing that, I was saving some of the questions that you guys had. Lily Wayne asks, is there the death penalty in Pennsylvania? Yes, Lily, there is. However, since about 1972, I think there have only been 3 executions in the Commonwealth, and I don't think there have been any in the last 20 to 25 years. It's effectively not a thing, even though the law is on the books. And here's the thing about, I guess, crime and punishment. part of the legal system is to create disincentives to bad behavior, right? To scare people off of doing things that they may have something in them that they want to do. And that is where the punishment comes from, or it comes in the legal system, right? If you're looking at the death penalty, you might say to yourself, I don't want to do that thing if they're going to stick a needle in my arm. But more important than the actual punishment for the crime is the certainty of that punishment. And we don't have that in many states here in the United States. And I honestly, it's unpopular in certain circles, but I think there are some things where you can't make restitution for a thing. And there are things that are deserving of that penalty. But the fact that it's uncertain whether you'll get it or not, I think it does not do what it is intended to do. That's just my opinion. I was thinking, by the way, I mentioned this earlier today, but I was sitting in the hallways in the courthouse out here, and I was talking to a man he's one of the tip staff, works in the court. And he had retired, but he'd come back to help out here and there. And he worked in CPS, the Child Protective Services, in Pennsylvania for a long, long time. Prior to that, he was in corrections. And the reason that we were talking about it is because on the other side of the hallway where we were seated, there was a little family who was being reunited. I won't give any real details on this because it's not my story to tell. But we were observing from across the hall the Child Protective Services process coming to an end where a child was being reunited with their family. And it was actually a beautiful thing. And it filled me with hope that everything would be fine from here on after. But as I continued to talk with this tip staff, the likelihood that everything will be okay is really low. It's really, really low. And it's sad. Autumn adds, in Pennsylvania, the death penalty can only be applied in cases where a defendant is found guilty of first-degree murder if aggravating factors are present in the conviction. Those aggravated factors are things like using a firearm, committing some kind of SA as part of that first-degree murder. There are a couple of extra ones there. But like I said, nobody's ever executed here in the Commonwealth, so it really doesn't work. Yeah, She-Elf Johnson says, but the son was not abused. That is correct. He was not. Jennifer, 27 states still have DP. Many don't use it. That goes back to for me, the certainty of the punishment is more powerful than the punishment itself. Archangel says, I thought there were follow-ups when homeschooling. Okay, so this was a cyber school. Cyber school is an online school where you have a teacher, you have a classroom, you show up on video, and you're part of a class, right? You're part of school. Now, apparently nobody noticed that this was happening to poor little Melinda. I remember, I don't know if I want to share this or not, but we have 5 children. My wife and I have 5 children, and 2 of them have chronic illnesses that are manageable. It's not the end of the world. But one of our children, she was basically failing to physically thrive. She was not gaining weight as she got older. She was not gaining height as she got older. And to us, we could tell that there was something going on, but it didn't startle us. It didn't there wasn't something that really got us chugging along until her teacher came and talked to us and said, hey, I'm kind of noticing this, that, and the other. We went to a doctor's appointment, and then eventually that took us down the road of a diagnosis. And actually part of that was she got very, very ill. But anyway, I think it's very easy for a lot of us to not even pay attention, like even if it's your own child. And Kimberly and I are loving, doting, very involved parents, but we're like, oh, well, she's just small. Kimberly was small when she was a girl. Maybe she's just on the small side, that kind of thing. So I don't know. But anyway, with this little girl, with Melinda, she was on video and had a teacher and had classmates, and nobody saw it. Astrid Galactic, considering that she was chained, she probably also wasn't allowed to go to the bathroom other than at restricted times. Holding stuff can cause organ problems, especially for kidneys. That's a good point. Yeah, Jamie points out what cyber school is. A. Heineman says, Lori Vallow's kids died, but Chad Daybell's lived. I suspect the woman was the instigator. Well, she does have a past, apparently, that's coming to light, which I don't have all the details, so I'm not going to get into it. I'm just seeing things in articles and so forth. But yeah, it's certainly possible. Jamie, another of our intrepid moderators, says, when they say basement in rural Pennsylvania, it means dungeon. For those of you who live in places where there are basements where you can like live in them, like, back west, I know in the Rocky Mountain West, for example, where I'm originally from before we moved to California, basements are just part of the house. My grandparents' homes all had basements that were just part of the house. Go down to the basement, their bedrooms, their bathrooms, their storage rooms, all that stuff. That's not typically the case out here in rural Pennsylvania. Most of these homes are built on like limestone and sandstone foundations with very wide like grout lines. Like our house is 121 years old. And when you go down into the basement, like it's wet down there. There's no living in the basement. In order to make that a working basement, the amount of work that we would have to do to seal that up and dig it down lower just makes no sense, right? So Jamie is spot on that the houses out here in the basements, they are not a dungeon is a good description of that. Thanks, Jamie. Lily asks, I wonder if this will ever get to trial or will there be a plea? So statistically speaking, Lily, this won't go to trial. It's less than 1% that go to trial. The latest statistics I have, at least in my county, is about 8 to 10 out of 11 to 1,200 cases make it to trial. So, I doubt it. But it might. It's possible. I mean, I'm at a trial right now. I'm covering a murder trial that he has no business taking that to trial. He just wants to cause the county to spend money. That's my interpretation of it. He does not have a good case. But he took it to trial. That just might be him as a career criminal. Let's see. My Life says she told teachers she was being abused. The school reported it. Why she was allowed to be at home and have online school. We need better laws for the children. Yeah, I mean, obviously our system failed poor Melinda here. Completely 100% failed her. On the other hand, like for those of us who are doing a good job, we want the state to stay out of it, right? So man, there's just a very difficult place to draw that line. But I know that the line must be drawn, right? I mean, just that experience that I had today sitting in the hallway at court. And obviously Melinda's case with these two idiots being her abusers, obviously there has to be that line somewhere. I just don't know where. She-Elf Johnson says, were the grandparents nearby? I don't have the answer to that question. She-Elf. GF, no, he just said they weren't. I thought it was saved in cache memory on the phone, which automatically happens. No, I think he said that they purposefully kept the videos, but that they did find other things in cache as well, like the text messages and so forth. But I may have gotten that completely wrong, Renee. You might be right. And then Autumn, our moderator, says, I'm kind of new to this. What led the police to finally showing up? It was a 911 call, which I think that most people answered that in the comments. Guys, we'll have to keep, what does Autumn say? My basement has maybe one window. It's damp. Yeah, like our basement, I would consider to be among the nicer ones in our area. Still, I would not put anybody living down there, period. Yeah. Okay. So guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. We've been coming up on an hour. I deeply appreciate it. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, I would love it if you would do that. Please always remember that you can reach out to me through my website here at gavinfish.com. Just click the contact button right here. Also, remember that if you click this little fish tank button or the little fish button, you will get over to the fish tank. We're a growing community of true crime lovers, and we like to have conversations over there. So please join the fish tank if you haven't already done so. One message that I got today was a question about, let's see, this case. Let me get over to it real quick. The case of Rebecca Byler, asking for an update on the case of Rebecca Byler. And I promise you guys, when I have things that I can update, I will bring them to you. What happens in a lot of these cases is it just goes into wait and see mode because there's nothing happening. There's lots of stuff happening in the background, but nothing that we can report on. So when there is news on the Rebecca Byler case, I will definitely bring it to you, as well as other cases like the Ellen Greenberg case. I will bring those to you. Remember that we've got some live events coming up. In August, I will be at True Crime Fest, Northwest Arkansas. Tickets are on sale now. If you go to my website, I'm not even showing it to you. If you go to my website, you will be able to see that here under events. And then CrimeCon UK 2024 is coming up in September. I'm actually going to take one of our daughters to that with me. I'm excited to go there. And if you use code FISH, if you're going to be in London and you want to attend CrimeCon, which is the one that I suggest you attend. Like, this is the one that I choose to go to. Use code FISH, check out and save yourself a few bucks. Okay, with that, guys, I will say goodnight, bid you adieu, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you very much for stopping by, and take care. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.